We all feel it, right? Time passing. It's probably the most fundamental rhythm of our lives. But have you ever really stopped to ask, what is it? It turns out how we answer that question usually falls into one of three pretty fascinating and very different stories. So let's dive into them.
It all really boils down to this one huge question that has kept philosophers and physicists up at night for centuries. Is the future already written down somewhere, or are we actively creating it, moment by moment?
And believe it or not, your gut answer to that question probably puts you into one of three major philosophical camps. So let's unpack these three powerful stories that we tell ourselves about time. And we'll start with the one that just feels the most natural.
Okay, so first up is presentism. This is what you might call the common sense view, the one that really lines up with how we experience the world every single day.
So what presentism says is something that honestly feels deeply true to all of us. Only the now is real. That's it. The past, it's gone. It has completely vanished. And the future, well, it's just not here yet. It's just this wide open ocean of possibilities.
Yeah, this phrase just nails it, doesn't it? The person you were a year ago, 5 minutes ago, they don't actually exist anymore. And the person you'll be tomorrow, that's just an idea, a potential. According to this story, the only you that's real is the one listening to my voice right this second. To help you picture this, presentism gives us some really cool metaphors. You can think of reality as this single, razor-thin slice of the universe that's actually lit up. Or maybe it's like a spotlight of presentness that's always moving forward, illuminating one moment at a time. My favorite is thinking of it like a live show, where new things are genuinely, truly happening for the very first time. And this is why presentism is so powerful, right? It just feels right. It completely matches how we live our lives. We act in the now, we remember what happened then, and we make plans for a future that feels totally open and unwritten. It tells us that, yes, things are really changing.
Okay, but now let's get ready for a total mind-bender. Let's look at the counter-argument, the story that a lot of modern physics seems to prefer, the block universe. In this view, well, it flips everything we just said completely on its head.
So, in the block universe theory, that special now that feels so important to us, it just disappears. Instead, the past, the present, and the future are all equally real. They all exist at the same time in this kind of static, four-dimensional block of space-time.
And this quote is so wonderfully weird because it gets right to the point. From this perspective, nothing is really happening. Your birth, this exact moment, and your death, they all just are. They coexist. That feeling of time flowing from one moment to the next, it's just an illusion, a trick of our consciousness.
The metaphors for this idea are just as vivid. Picture the entire universe as a loaf of bread, where every single slice, every moment, from the Big Bang to the end of time, already exists. Or, an even better one, think of all of reality as a book that's already been written. We only feel suspense and surprise because we're turning the pages one by one, but the beginning, the middle, and the end are already printed.
So you're probably wondering, why on earth would anyone believe in such a bizarre idea? Well, it's because it fits so beautifully with the math of Einstein's relativity, which treats time as just another dimension, like length, width, and height. The equations don't single out any special now. And this brings us right to the heart of the conflict. We have presentism, which feels right to us but clashes with modern physics, and we have the block universe, which fits the physics but seems to deny that real change even happens, which is kind of the most obvious thing about our lives. Each story just feels incomplete on its own.
So what if there's another option, a way to bridge this huge gap? Well, that brings us to a really compelling third story, a kind of synthesis called Changism.
All right, let's break this down. Changism agrees with our gut. One world is genuinely actively happening. But, and this is the genius part, it redefines everything else. The present isn't some thin moving slice. It's a thick, active field of interactions. The past isn't gone. It's the collection of records that exist right now, like your memories or a fossil in a rock. And the future isn't a fixed place we're heading to. It's the set of real potentials that exist now, like a seed holding the potential to become a tree. This table really shows how Changism tries to get the best of both worlds. Let's look at the big questions. Is change real? Changism says absolutely, it's fundamental, just like our intuition tells us. Does it respect Einstein's relativity? Yup, fully compatible, just like the block universe needs. And it does this with its clever redefinition of the past and future. The past isn't gone, it's just the set of records we have now.
And the future isn't fixed. It's the set of real potentials that are available to us in this moment.
And all of this boils down to this really cool, simple slogan: one world, many ledgers. What that means is there's one single reality that's always becoming, always changing. But each of us, every person, every clock, we all keep our own local relative record of that change, our own ledger.
Okay, I know we've been deep in some pretty abstract, heady stuff, so let's bring it all back down to earth and talk about why any of this actually matters in a very real way.
You might be sitting there thinking, okay, cool, but so what? Why should I care about these different stories of time? And that's a totally fair question. The answer is that the story you believe, whether you realize it or not, shapes your entire view of life.
I mean, it affects how you think about the biggest questions. Is change a real thing, or is it all an illusion? When you make a decision, could you truly have chosen to do something else? Do past and future versions of you exist somewhere out there in space-time? The philosophy of time you lean towards provides the whole framework for these answers.
And nowhere does this hit harder than when we talk about freedom and fate. If you're in the block universe, where the book is already written, it becomes really hard to see how your choices could be truly free. But in Changism, the future is just a set of potentials. And your actions right now are what actually select from those potentials. You are literally helping to write the next chapter of the book.
So at the end of the day, the really great thing here is that we aren't stuck with this impossible choice. We don't have to pick between our gut feeling that only this moment is real and that cold scientific picture where nothing ever really happens. There's a middle ground.
This third story offers this incredibly powerful vision, and it's all captured in this final mantra. It tells us there's one world, and it's truly and continuously becoming. We each keep track of it with our own local perspective, our own ledger. And, this part is key, we can use the geometry of physics as a map of what's happening, not as the frozen stage itself.
So now the choice is really yours. After weighing our deepest intuitions against the strange and powerful insights of modern physics, the question is still there. Which story of time makes the most sense to you? Which one are you going to choose to live by?